Solar PV TV from the rainy Brussels from SolarPower Summit 2017. And now we are together with the two key people for the O&M task force at SolarPower Europe, with Máté, who is managing the task force from the side of SolarPower Europe, and with the chairman, representing members with the group, Vassilis from Alectris. Hello guys, Kalimera.
Thanks for talking Greek, Tomasz. Appreciate very much being in this interview, and we do hope to give some light in what we're doing with SolarPower Europe and relating to O&M. So very glad to be here.
And Máté, where are you from?
I'm from Hungary. Hello, Tomasz. In Hungarian, we just say hello or szia.
And in Hungarian also there is a first name, Tomasz, yeah?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, guys, so it's quite interesting, yes, because European market right now it's not so, let's say, big in terms of the growth, but we have the biggest number of installations actually. So I think that O&M is quite important topic, and it's very interesting that SolarPower Europe tackled, this topic into the hands, and you have already some results. So maybe I will ask first Vassilis, who is the chairman of the task force, and could you tell me which major milestone have you reached already?
Well, just to, before answering your question, Tomasz, indeed, the market in solar in Europe is, decreasing percentage, seeing the percentage. But I think what really matters in this industry is how old this industry is and how much expertise it has gathered. So from that perspective, I think that the market in Europe is the most mature, the most experienced with a great know-how. So this is just to, starting comment from my side. Now, we started the, actually SolarPower Europe started the task force about year and a half ago with the purpose of bring some sort of best practices guidelines into the market. And we've reached a great milestone around July last year, if I remember well, where we published the first draft, the first document version 1.0 about these best practices. Now, what is important to say there is this document is a result of a collective effort. So we have 25 to 30 members currently from all parts of the industry. So it's not just O&M providers or asset managers.
The whole value chain.
The whole value. So it's manufacturers, there's certification companies. So we want to look at the O&M from a broader perspective. We don't want to talk, and that's probably more relating to me and my company. We don't want to talk as an O&M provider, but we want to gather the expertise and the input from all the stakeholders and really draft something, best practices document that applies to the needs of every stakeholder. And we've reached that milestone. That's we consider that as a first step of a very long journey, but a very significant first step.
And I think that your milestone was already noticed by important bodies like IRENA, for example. Yeah? And now I would like to ask Máté, because IRENA and SolarPower Europe is in close touch recently, and especially on the topic of O&M. Yes. So could you tell us how this cooperation is working and what role of SolarPower Europe, you are seeing within this partnership?
Yes. First of all, I would like to say that the version 1.0 of the O&M guidelines has received very positive feedback from the industry, not only from IRENA. Well, IRENA has acknowledged the very positive nature of the guidelines, but we've received very positive feedback from our members, but also non-member companies, also media, regarding the O&M guidelines. Well, as for IRENA, IRENA launched together with the Terawatt Initiative in July 2016 the Solar Energy Standardization Initiative, which is an initiative aimed at, well, as the name says, standardization of procedures within solar. The Solar Energy Standardization Initiative aims at 8 different aspects, including O&M, but also aspects related to power purchase agreements, development agreements, and the work stream related to O&M is chaired by SolarPower Europe. Our objective within the Solar Energy Standardization Initiative is to develop a template contract for O&M that can serve as a best practice, as a as a sort of a standardized document for O&M providers as well as asset owners worldwide.
And what do you mean actually by O&M? Because we had a few minutes ago quite interesting internal discussion. I would like to know that you just touch a bit wider, yes, to the public.
Well, I'm very happy to clarify this, and I need to start from the following. Everyone is talking, or a lot of people are talking about O&M, which is two letters, is O and M. But for some peculiar reason, and that doesn't apply only in Europe, I think it's more globally applied, people are talking about the M alone.
Why?
My interpretation is because M is more measurable. So, talking from the experiences of my company, if you have an O&M contract, what you have in an annex of a contract is the M activities. So people perceive these as, these are what you need to perform. So it's just M. But one thing that we have failed, and I'm talking about O&M providers, not SolarPower Europe, obviously, is that we failed to explain what the operations is about. And for me, it's a big discussion. But in a nutshell, operations is how you manage all these activities and not just dispatching people. There's a lot of activities, how to do this efficiently. It's a very competitive market. And we need to ensure that we bring the prices down, but we raise the quality, which is always a challenge. So operations is basically, if I can just put a sentence there, operations is managing all these activities, these M activities, they're reporting in an efficient way to bring the costs down without sacrificing the quality.
And do you feel, Vassilis, from your experience, that now there is more attention actually to the quality and the reliability of the solar projects? Because before we had a feed-in tariff, yes, so you could recover your money, let's say, in 2-3 years. And now actually when we have PPA systems, your system should work, and operate, yes, and bringing the money during 25 years or 30 years.
I'm very happy you asked this question, and I have to go back, to explain a bit about the history of solar in general. If you think about 5-10 years back, especially in Europe, there was these generous feed-in tariffs. There was a lot of margin there, I would guess. I mean, I'm not an investor, so
even in Greece.
Even in Greece, but also in Germany, Italy, Greece, Spain, which has proven after so many years that feed-in tariff is probably not the most efficient way to push renewables in the market. Solar in the market, not renewables. So there was a rush for construction. There was, I think it was well done. I'm not, criticizing that. You needed a push, an initial push in the market, but we're beyond that. So at that point in time, investors and actually everyone, there was no knowledge, long-term knowledge, not just about the technological knowledge, what is a panel, what is an inverter, what is the long-term experience of a solar asset. And we didn't have that. It's as simple as that, because we simply didn't have long-standing plans. Now we're starting to realize that this is a challenge, and there's things that you can do and you must do in the design phase, in the construction phase, and in the operational phase to keep the asset at an optimum operational level. So things have changed quite dramatically. We have the benefit as Europeans talking that we are on one of the first starters, and we are one of the first that have the longest experience in long-term operations of assets. And this is something that people are starting to acknowledge. I remember probably 10 years back, investors were thinking, I'm going to construct a plant, I'm going to sit and enjoy my revenues. It was a very bad misperception from the market, from investors and all the stakeholders. So it's not so straightforward. A plant is something that is working in open air, and it should be working for more than 20 years. So there is things that need to be done to keep the operation at an optimum level.
And you said that you are just starting the journey, yeah? That is the first step. And I would like to ask maybe now, Máté, so what are the next steps in terms, let's say like organizational stuff? And afterwards also, I would like to ask Vassilis, in terms of internal work, what will be done? So first, Máté.
Well, as said, version 1.0 of the guidelines has received very positive feedback, but we can't stop there. So currently for 2017, the main objective of the O&M task force will be to update the guidelines and to produce version 2.0 of the guidelines together with our members. This is what we've just launched. We're currently restructuring a little bit our task force. We're identifying the work to be done. And as said, one of the most important parts of this work will be the elaboration of the template contract together with the law firms, international law firms participating in the solar energy standardization initiative. But we're also going into the details of version 1.0 of the guidelines. We're enlarging the scope, we're redefining the chapters together with our members. And of course, a third point for 2017 will be dissemination. So there's a lot of work to do in dissemination. We're going to conferences, we're organizing roundtable debates, we're holding presentations, and the major thing for 2017 will be presenting version 2.0, which we plan to do by Q3 or Q4.
So do you believe, Vassilis, that in the future we will have, like, one certification, standardization body for, or certificate standards for O&M?
That would be absolutely a dream. It is actually a dream of mine, at least, and I hope that it's shared by other people as well. I think we're a long way from there. We've just completed the first step, which is a very essential step. We're laying the grounds, the foundation to get there, which is very important. But there's lots of things to be done until then. What I would say is, before we start really planning and discussing about that, there's three things that we need to focus upon as a task force together with SolarPower Europe. And that would be dissemination, as Máté very correctly pointed out. That would be creating more awareness in the market, and then most importantly, create adoption. So these standards, what we create, these best practices need to be known in the market, and they need to be adopted in the market. I think this is going to be the driving factor for further maturing the process. If these are well accepted in the market, if this is acknowledged as a best practice, I think the next step with that would be to get to that level. But I think we're far away from there. And it's still a dream, but it's within reach. It's not going to take decades.
Yeah, and dream without action just remains a dream. And thanks to that you are working in close cooperation, this dream can be realized. Yes.
We sure hope so, and I think we have the task force has great members, all possible stakeholders from different industries, from different categories in the industry. SolarPower Europe is very active in there, is leading this. I would say globally even. I think we have the best cards in hand to achieve that.
Okay, so thank you so much, and from Solar PV TV side, we'll be following up, helping you in dissemination, and let's make this dream come true. Thanks for watching.